morning, everyone. It's great to have such a wonderful crowd here tonight. My name is Joyce Strasser. I have the privilege of serving as the Dean of the Stillman School of Business, and it is my great honor to welcome you to our annual Hall of Fame dinner, our celebration of entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial spirit. Tonight, we're going to be recognizing the accomplishments of two of our current Stillman students, and we'll also give you an update on the wonderful achievements of our Center for Entrepreneurial Studies. But most importantly, though, we're going to be honoring two extraordinary entrepreneurs by inducting those two into our Hall of Fame. So we are so pleased tonight to have the privilege of honoring Jim DiCarlo, and Shannon Morris. Tonight, for those of you who are keeping score, marks our 8th Hall of Fame dinner. And as you may know, 8 is a significant number in a number of cultures, religions, and disciplines. 8 is the atomic number of oxygen. There are 8 Beatitudes. Hanukkah is an 8-day Jewish celebration, and in my field of accounting, we originally worshipped at the altar of the Big 8. In 1965, the Beatles hit the top of the U.S. charts with their hit, 8 Days a Week. And since 2006, there are 8 planets that orbit the sun. But most appropriately for tonight's event, for this gathering, 8 is a lucky number in the Chinese culture. For my China contingent, yay! Okay. That's because 8, or Ba, sounds very much like the word fa, which means to generate wealth. And generating wealth is, as we know, what successful entrepreneurs do. Seton Hall is indeed lucky to be recognizing our two honorees tonight. But our pride in their accomplishments goes way beyond their success in generating wealth. It's true that their financial results have been impressive, but when I first met both of our honorees, what really struck me was their commitment to a higher set of values and goals. Jim is the co-founder and chief environmental compliance officer of Fleet Wash, the nation's largest provider of professional truck washing services. In the 1980s, when concerns arose about the disposal of water used in commercial washing, Jim did not look for an easy way out, for a loophole, or a way to delay the inevitable. Instead, what he did is he led Fleet Wash in embracing this challenge. And he led the efforts to develop water filtration, wastewater filtration, and vacuum systems that today are industry standards. Shannon is a leader who cares passionately about her people. In our first visit to Sigma, we were very impressed by her commitment to making sure that the workplace is enjoyable and stimulating. Shannon takes great pride in her Sigma family, and we were pleased and impressed to observe the time we were there, the start of an on-site yoga class, and we were also very impressed to learn that the company had just completed its own Harlem Shake parody video. So she's making the workplace fun for them. So in sum, Jim and Shannon really embody those values and ideals that we strive to develop in our Stillman School graduates. And you'll hear a lot more about their accomplishments, the wonderful things they've done, the mark that they've made later tonight. So for now, I just want to say, Jim, Shannon, We are so proud of you. We could not be more proud of the wonderful things that you've done, and we do indeed count ourselves very lucky to be able to add your stories to our 5th floor wall of fame. So please, once more, help me congratulate our honorees. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Seton Hall University's Provost and Executive Vice President, Dr. Larry Robinson. Please help me give a warm Stillman welcome to Provost Robinson.
Good evening, Dean Strauser, Board of Advisors, faculty, and other special guests. I'd like to extend a very special greeting on behalf of Seton Hall University to each of you as we celebrate the 8th Annual Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame ceremony. As we convene this event, I'm honored to recognize a couple of people who's been instrumental to the progress and historic legacy of Seton Hall. One, I'd like to recognize Mr. Mike Luciola, an alumnus, past inductee to the Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame, and a member of Seton Hall's Board of Regents. Mr. Luciola, would you please stand? Mr. Luciola gives tireless of his time and effort in support of our mission. Also, I'd like to take this occasion to recognize a guest that I understand and I met briefly earlier this evening that traveled from China, Mr. Hechin Chu, who is an alumnus from the MBA program and anyway traveled some thousands of miles to be here with us tonight. And Ms. Chu, would you please stand? Thank you. This event and ceremony enables our university and the Stillman School of Business to recognize excellence. And it also gives us the opportunity to demonstrate the values we associate with entrepreneurship. This event places the emphasis on the values that our dean alluded to, that establishes a foundation for the Center of Entrepreneurial Studies, which provides principles that adhere to innovation, a mission, and a vision. A special privilege in being a part of these proceedings is to recognize and establish a forum that allows us to demonstrate our commitment to these values. This ceremony reminds all of us of the qualities and characteristics that personify extraordinary achievements. Our two celebrants are a standard bearer for distinction and achievement. Mr. James M. DiCarlo Jr. and Ms. Shannon D.M. provide Stillman School of Business students with benchmarks in their pursuit of excellence. This ceremony is symbolic in recognizing your achievements. I am reminded in commemorating of your efforts and dedication in reaching this milestone that it is aptly demonstrated by the Greek definition of happiness, a full use of your powers along the lines of excellence and a life affording scope. This definition, in all actuality, is what we endeavor to recognize and to celebrate here this evening. Two people who have embraced excellence, exercised it, carved it out in their entrepreneurship. Welcome and have a special evening. Thank you.
I would now like to welcome the woman who really is behind all of these wonderful achievements and everything that's going on tonight. So Susan, that would be you. So please help me welcome Susan Sherrick, Director of the Center for Entrepreneurial Studies.
Good evening. I am delighted to be standing before you tonight for many reasons. First and foremost, it is a great honor for us to induct Jim DiCarlo and Shannon Morris into the Entrepreneur Hall of Fame. A big thanks to both of these remarkable and successful entrepreneurs for being here with us this evening to celebrate with their family, friends, and associates. Secondly, I am bursting with pride as I announce to you that our 8th annual Entrepreneur Hall of Fame is our most successful ever in terms of both our fundraising and attendance. So please join me in giving everyone a big round of applause for your incredible generosity and support. It takes a village to create a world-class entrepreneurship program. Thank you for being our village. Significantly, we have forged an innovative partnership between the Center and our entrepreneur alumni and friends. The results are impressive. Imagine, just a decade ago, our center was simply a vision, an idea on a piece of paper. Today, look around you to see what we have become. But why should we be surprised? This is what successful entrepreneurs do. So what does the entrepreneurial spirit in evidence here this evening mean for our students? It means more scholarships for entrepreneurship students at a time when many families are struggling with college bills. It means turning our Pirates Pitch business plan competition into a tool that can seriously help our students to launch businesses. Because of your generosity, we doubled the amount of prize money to $10,000 in last year's Pirates Pitch contest, and our goal is to double that again in the near future. Even more significantly, your support signals to the university as a whole how important entrepreneurship education is to our students and to the economy. The amazing success and the sellout crowd of this dinner is a game changer. Indeed, I would like to know, as we've noted before, Mr. Xu is here from Shanghai just to attend this dinner tonight. And I would also like to acknowledge my good friend, Mr. Ray Hoffman of CEO Radio. You've all heard Ray interview entrepreneurs on WCBS Radio. Ray, would you please stand and be acknowledged? I believe that our Entrepreneurship Center and our expanding programs will increasingly play a key role at the university as we prepare our students in the entrepreneurial age. Now, I am pleased to present, for the 8th year in a row, the Stillman School of Business Entrepreneurship Scholarship students. Before I do, please let me tell you about our awesome recipients. Arlene Cruz is a junior studying management at the Stillman School of Business. Arlene is from Union City, where her mother and aunt own a restaurant. So entrepreneurship is in her blood. In her scholarship essay, Arlene wrote, "As a business student, I couldn't picture myself doing anything but owning my own business. Through entrepreneurship, I see an immense opportunity to progress while helping others in the process." Our second scholarship recipient is Brad Childs, who is studying for an MBA in our 5-year dual degree program. Many of you may remember that Brad was the Seton Hall University valedictorian last May, having achieved a perfect 4.0 average. I was so taken with Brad's remarks in his essay that I must share them with you. He wrote, "As a college freshman majoring in marketing, my dream job was to be a marketing executive at a Fortune 500 company. But after 4 years of learning, both in and out of the classroom, I have discovered that my real passion and career path lies in entrepreneurship. One of the critical factors that influenced my desired career path change has been the entrepreneurship courses I have taken at Seton Hall. This past spring, I experienced my first entrepreneurship course at the graduate level, Growing a Small Business with Professor Brian Fitzpatrick. I have already taken about 45 courses at the college level, but very few, perhaps none, have been as rewarding as that course. The opportunity to learn from a successful entrepreneur was incredible. Even more important, though, was the opportunity to learn from this successful man who genuinely takes an interest in his students' performance. I do not think that it is a stretch to suggest that every Stillman student should be required to take an entrepreneurship course. It does not matter what the student's career aspirations are. The information covered in these courses can be applicable to any personal or professional venture. I wanted to read Brad's words to point up to you how entrepreneurial education program here and your supportive efforts are changing lives. Many of you know that Brian Fitzpatrick, CEO of Bentley Labs, is a member of our board of advisors. Brian, will you please stand up and be acknowledged? We will be introducing our Board of Advisors in full in a few moments, but I would also like to take this opportunity to also acknowledge two of our other board members who generously give their time and expertise to teach courses at the Stillman School of Business, Tom Basillo and Dr. Eileen Moran. Tom and Eileen, will you please stand and be acknowledged? Thank you. And now, Arlene and Brad, will you please come to the podium to receive your scholarship awards? Thank you. And now for my favorite part of my presentation, which is to introduce to you our Master of Ceremonies, Tom Basillo. Most of you know Tom as a partner at Witham Smith and Brown, but around here we call Tom Volunteer Extraordinaire. Tom not only teaches his very popular entrepreneurship course in our graduate program, as I mentioned, but he is the chair of our Board of Advisors and is involved with Stillman in countless other ways. Tom's wife, Patty, likes to say, no one says no to Tom when he asks them to help in a volunteer effort because they know how much of his time and expertise Tom gives to the causes dear to him, including Seton Hall. And now, please let me present Mr. Tom Basillo.
Thank you, Susan, and welcome to the Morris DiCarlo wedding. Wow, over 200 people. I can't believe it. It's really a tremendous, tremendous amount of people to come. We really appreciate it. Seriously, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 8th Annual Seton Hall University Entrepreneur Hall of Fame Induction Dinner. For those of you in the audience that are new to this event, the Center for Entrepreneurial Studies at Seton Hall University was started in 2003 through an endowment from Frank Scott, a New Jersey entrepreneur, 1950 alum, and his wife Marilyn. It was created to prepare students for a world in which entrepreneurial competence is crucial. Entrepreneurs are not only key players in today's global economy, but they are critical to the state of New Jersey, where well over 90% of businesses can be considered entrepreneurial companies. The Entrepreneurial Center has made significant inroads over the past 10 years in accomplishing its mission. In the past fiscal year alone, the center sponsored the 3rd Annual Pirates Pitch Venture Fund competition. This competition is open to all full-time university students, and the response was phenomenal. Over 28 teams participated and came from academic disciplines across the universities. 3 winning teams were selected by an independent group of judges, and thanks to the center's fundraising efforts, the amount of cash prizes doubled from last year's $5,000 to $10,000. Academically, demand for entrepreneurial studies courses continues to be high. Overall, about 200 students enrolled in undergraduate and graduate classes offered at the Stillman School during the 2012-2013 academic term. The Center for Entrepreneurial Studies awarded 24 certificates in entrepreneurial studies for a total of 128 over the past 7 years. This achievement could not be accomplished without the strong support of Management Chair Jason Yin and Drs. Elizabeth McRae and Susan Young. Additionally, 8 students studying entrepreneurship received David B. Gerstein scholarships in the fall of 2012, and another 8 will be awarded in 2013-14 academic year. And there's even more excitement. The center sponsored a panel discussion, Social Media, Wheel of Fortune, in partnership with the New Jersey Turnaround Management Association. The March event was attended by more than 100 students, faculty, alumni, and other members of the business community. This marked the 4th year that the center has partnered with the TMA in this lecture series, and it continues to be strong. The center forged a strong relationship with Stillman's MBA Chinese Foreign Exchange students and EMBA students in the Shanghai program under the guidance of Dr. Jason Yin. In November 2012, board members Brian Fitzpatrick hosted the Chinese Foreign Exchange MBA students in a tour of Bentley Laboratories. In May, board members John Oriema and Bill Bartzak hosted tours of American Wear and MD Online, respectively, for the Stillman School's first graduating class of EMBA students from Shanghai. The center leveraged its power of social media to create a network of alumni and other entrepreneurs and SSU and entrepreneurship students via LinkedIn. And finally, the center launched a new entrepreneurship course designed for non-business students in a pioneering cross-campus initiative that acknowledges the entrepreneurs are all in fields and industries, and entrepreneurial skills are important to all of our students. Before we go too far into the program, there are a number of people I want to acknowledge. First, our tremendous board of advisors. You heard names as we spoke all through tonight, but all of our members of our board have made significant contributions to the program, and I'd like to recognize them now. Since 2006, these special individuals who are key New Jersey business leaders and entrepreneurs have helped to move the Entrepreneurial Center's mission forward. I'm proud to be its chairman, and I would like to take the opportunity to present our board members to you. So I ask that each of you please rise as I mention your name to be acknowledged. John Oriema, Sal Coco, Vito DiGiovanni, Brian Fitzpatrick, George Beam, Phil Murphy, Bill Strasser, Frank Canone, Jason Yin, John Coro, Ryan Duffy, Eileen Moran, and our newest member, Sonny Bappa. In addition to the support of the Board of Advisors, the Center has been fortunate enough to have the support of many benefactors and patrons. You will see these donors and benefactors acknowledged in tonight's program, and our slideshow that will play throughout the dinner will also mention our donors. The generosity of these individuals and companies has provided the center with an additional $90,000 this year, bringing our total raise to more than $325,000 since 2006. I want to thank everyone for your ongoing support for our wonderful programs. That brings us to this evening's festivities. As part of making the Center for Entrepreneurial Study into a world-class program, we honor individuals whose ingenuity, hard work, and innovation have created successful and growing business ventures. Our honorees, Jim DiCarlo and Shannon Morris, epitomize the spirit of entrepreneurship and the tenacity typical of Seton Hall University graduates. Their accomplishments and loyalties to Seton Hall University make them worthy recipients of the Entrepreneurial Center's highest honor, induction into the Seton Hall induction into the Seton Hall Entrepreneur Hall of Fame. Boy, I try to get those teeth fixed. Before we take a break for dinner, I would like to acknowledge our past Hall of Fame inductees. Many of you are here today, and if you are, please rise. Vito DiGiovanni, Steve Waldis, John Oriema, Tom Sharkey, Joe Hughes, David Gerstein, Bob Baldini, Brian Fitzpatrick, Sal Coco, Mike Bucciola, Victor Scuderi, Charles Alberto, and Bill Bartzak. One of our inductees this year, George Ring, sadly passed away during the year, and just ask for a moment of silence for in his memory. He was a wonderful man and has been extremely generous to the university. And finally, I'd like to acknowledge Director Susan Sherrick, who was honored along with me, and Dean Karen Bora for significant contributions to the development of the center. Susan, please stand as you acknowledge. Our honorees tonight have two things in common. Both are visionaries and both have identified a customer need in creating their business. Our first honoree is James DiCarlo. I ask that you would direct your attention to the video screen for a brief video on Jimmy's path to success.
My father had a construction business. It was during the school year, and he said, "Hey, this weekend, can you bring home like a half a dozen of your college guys to come and give me a hand? We have this project going on at this one job, and I just need a lot of muscle." So I gathered 6 guys, and one of them was Vito. So there's 6 guys that are actually working with my dad, and he brings us all back to the house that night so my mom can feed everybody so they can sleep on the floor and work tomorrow. So he meets Vito for the first time. All of a sudden, I get on the topic of checkers, okay? So my dad was always a fantastic checker player, would never lose to any of my uncles, anybody that came over to challenge him. He would go to amusement parks and always be winning at checkers. He meets Vito, they sit down, they start to play checkers. And right out of the box, Vito beats him in the first game. So he's like in a state of shock. So all of a sudden he realizes, hey, college kid, where did you learn how to play checkers? So they developed this very, very close friendship in all the visits that he was to make to my house. He would always say, "Where's Vito and why isn't he here playing checkers?" Unfortunately, Seton Hall never had fraternity houses. So we were granted space in the student center, and we had designated tables for each fraternity and also the sororities. And so we would have a meeting place. So every day there would at least be 10 or 15 of us there, sometimes 2 or 3, depending on the day. But there would always be a fraternity brother around where you could meet up at the table and have a great conversation, talk about the day, talk about the class. A lot of the brothers shared, especially finance and accounting classes. So there was a lot of discussion about the different professors and which ones to take, which ones not to take, how to study for this test, what he's going to ask, and how to prepare. And this is going to be on the test, this isn't going to be on the test. So there's a lot of that about classes. There was also a lot of our intramural discussion where we were always involved in the sports activities and intramurals as a fraternity. We were always the last place team because we were the smallest, the shortest, this, not the fittest group of guys that were trying to go play football against the teak guys who were all 6'5" and 250 pounds. So, but we had a good time. Sequentially, I was president, and Vito was president the year after I was. So that helped out in later years, looking back, and how that prepared us for running a business, because the two of us were able to run this group of guys in this fraternity and to get all the horses going the same way when it came to a fundraiser or an intramural football game or whatever it was. We kept the group together, and I think we both realized that, hey, we were able to do that with these 15 hooligans. We could do that with a group of guys working. So it was good preparation for business. It really was. The best advice I can give to any young student or new entrepreneur, not necessarily a young person, but anyone going or thinking about going into business, is primarily you can't try it for a short period of time. You have to stick with it. You cannot give up. You have to really stay with it. It takes a long time to develop a business. People think that you just go into business and you have this great idea, and all of a sudden you start to sell a lot of product, or you start to sell some technology, and all of a sudden the business really gets rolling, and before you know it, checks are coming in and you're doing great. Well, that happens eventually, but you have to give it a good amount of time, and you have to be patient. And my best advice is never give up. As we were developing the business and we got to the point where we actually had some money to invest, Vito and I looked at different ways to either expand or diversify. So we looked at a couple of different businesses. So we took money out of Fleet Wash and we tried some retail adventures. We also tried at one point to go into a trucking company. And we stayed at those for enough time to realize that they were an okay business, but they weren't really going to produce or be profitable like Fleet Wash was. So we stepped away from that, stepped back from that, and in a short time realized it was better to take our profits and to put them back into the business that we knew, and we grew, and we know the best, and we were the best at. But that was something we learned the hard way in the beginning. The biggest inspiration in my life was my dad. After the war, my dad was asked by my grandfather to please help out because they had 8 children, and they needed another source of income to help keep the family going. So my dad went and learned how to become a mason, learned a trade, and he, being the oldest, started to do masonry work, and all of a sudden started his own construction company as an entrepreneur. Now, in 1940, I don't think they used the word entrepreneur, but I certainly, as a young boy, watching what he was doing, learned these skills and these ways of starting a business and the benefits of that. My dad's business, he hired all his brothers, he hired his own father, his own uncles, and they all became part of this construction company, and they started to build homes and other things all through New Jersey. And as I got old enough, I was asked to come out on the weekends and see what was going on. And in watching my father develop this business, I realized that he had many hats, and he had to go out and sell and solicit. He had to estimate the jobs, do all the ordering of the material, keep all his brothers in line, and was responsible for the payroll and paying everyone and paying the bills and making the job profitable. And I was watching him and realized that he had a very limited education, but how smart he was and what a businessman he was. And I'm sure that that spark that I got from my dad actually lit the fire for Fleet Wash.
to help pay for their education, two fraternity brothers and fellow Seton Hall students, Jimmy DiCarlo and Vito DiGiovanni, worked nights as mechanics doing truck repairs. They were often asked by truckers where they could get their trucks washed, and pow! That was an idea. They figured this might be something that we could do. So by listening and filling a need, they created a business. And with a third partner, Neil Michelli, who gave his life savings of $2,000 to help them get started as he was going off to war, they started a business, Fleet Wash, in 1973. My first introduction to Jimmy DiCarlo was in 1996, when I interviewed Jimmy and his partner, Vito, for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. They had been finalists the year before, but they didn't really get the big prize. Yet they were still very upbeat, far from discouraged, and I had an instant liking for both of them. They actually won the award that year. When it was Jimmy's turn to speak, he mentioned his mom. She was always supportive of him, but when he announced that he was leaving school to start a business, Mrs. DiCarlo said, "But Jimmy, truck washing?" You know, it was one of the most memorable lines in the OI history. Well, Jimmy proved to be right about the business, and Fleet Wash is now the largest truck washing company in the world. Jimmy's contribution to the success of Fleet Wash has been as a visionary. He is an engineering genius. In the 1980s, when the EPA began requiring clean water disposal for all commercial vehicles, Jimmy was at the forefront and helped establish the standards for clean water still used today. In fact, he has a patent on the Fleet Wash process. So when your drinking water is clean and doesn't contain soot and oil, you have Jimmy to thank for keeping it clean. Jimmy. Jimmy, my dear friend, we thank you all for all you've done, and it's my great honor to present you with the 2013 Seton Hall University Entrepreneur Hall of Fame Award. So would you please come up and get your award?
Hello, everybody. I just need 1 minute to catch my breath. This is totally overwhelming. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Tom. And good evening to President Esteban and Dean Strasser, Director Sherrick, the other faculty members, the students that are here, my wonderful family that's here, and my friends that are here tonight. First, before I get started, I want to congratulate Shannon Morris on her induction tonight as well. Thank you. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing our night, Shannon. Thank you. You just saw and heard on the video a little bit about my dad, but someone very special here tonight. Please welcome my mom tonight. Mom, please stand. God bless Mom, 88, going strong. I have to special thanks from my mom for a couple of things. One of them was driving me past Seton Hall University when I was a young boy, and kind of put the idea in my head, and I said, maybe I'll go there someday. And then later on, reminding me when I was putting in an application, said, did you put your application into Seton Hall? I said, oh, yeah. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for taking care of me and still keeping an eye on me after 62 years. So thank you. Tonight, I want to acknowledge, I have 3 Tau Epsilon Phi fraternity brothers here tonight. Frankie Mazzino, Tony Terrell, and of course my partner Vito. I'm so lucky to have so many family members here tonight. Please, I want to acknowledge the love of my life, my wife Mary. Special thanks to Peg, the mother of my children, who was there for me in the beginning when it was a lot of fun in the beginning of the business. Thank you. My 3 amazing girls are here tonight, Jessica, Jamie, and Nicole. And the rest of the family. Many members of the Fleet Wash team are here tonight. Welcome and thank you for all your hard work that you do every day to make Fleet Wash what it is. Thank you. Of course, I'd like to now thank my partner, Vito. Vito has been my partner for the last 40 years. Just think about that, 40 years. He's an amazing, brilliant man. He drives our company still today to new levels of markets that neither one of us ever dreamed were ever going to be possible for Fleet Wash. Vito, after we started Fleet Wash in 1973, both left Seton Hall to start our business, and 10 years later, Vito decided that he needed to come back to school and got his degree in some finance courses and accounting courses, some really advanced courses. He needed that to negotiate financing deals that he was now doing with the banks as Fleet Wash was growing. And I have to tell you, the education that he got at Seton Hall really paid off. I've watched my partner in action just recently with MBAs of Harvard and Yale around a conference room table, and he's all over them. He's got them right there. You know, he's got, so thank you. Thank you. I'm very lucky and very proud to have Vito as my partner for 40 years, and without a doubt, the smartest man I ever met in my life. Thank you. This evening, it wouldn't be complete if I didn't say a few words about Neil Michelli. And you've heard a little bit of the story, that Tom told you a little bit of the story about how we were deciding to try to go into business, and we had this idea of going into Fleet Wash after working a mechanical job, and we only lacked one thing. We lacked money, and Vito's good friend offered to let us borrow $2,000 in exchange for a return of 10% of the business, or if we didn't make it, we would pay him back someday. That was the handshake deal that we made with Neil. I had never met Neil Michelli. Vito had a conversation with Neil the night before. He was leaving for the Army the next day, and he said to Neil, I want you to go to the bank tomorrow, take out all the money that you've saved in your whole life, $2,000, put it in an envelope, and give it to my friend Jimmy DiCarlo. He's going to meet you in front of the bank tomorrow. So I go to the bank, like Vito said to me, go meet him at the front of the bank, and I walk up in front of the bank, and there's a guy standing there. Didn't know what he looked like, never met him. So I said, are you Neil? And he goes, yeah. Are you Jimmy? I said, yeah. He goes, hey, here you go. Here's the envelope. Vito asked me to give you this money. And he hands me $2,000, $20, $100 bills in an envelope. And I said, wow, thank you so much. I said, be careful, be safe, and we'll see you when you get back, And he goes, okay, you guys, good luck, you guys. And he walked that way, and I walked that way. And I walked away with this envelope full of money, and I was like, what a guy, So as time went on, we of course developed a business, and we took that original $2,000 and bought what we needed to start the business, and never forgot what Neil did, never tried to buy him out at any time. Neil always stayed our partner, and it was probably the best investment that anybody ever made in their life. But God bless him, because without you, Neil, none of us would be here today, or Fleet Wash would have never got it off the ground. So thank you. Stephanie. And Neil's wife Stephanie's here tonight. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for coming. So I was going around and around trying to prepare for this speech. I'm really not a public speaker most of the time, but when you're talking about something that comes from the heart, it comes kind of easy sometimes. But so I said, well, I thought about it and I said, how and why did I ever become an entrepreneur? And it finally occurred to me recently that entrepreneurship, I believe, is really something you learn, not necessarily something you're born with, okay? And where did I learn the most about starting a business? Well, you saw in the video I talk about my dad and his inspiration to me, and I copied a lot of my dad's work ethic, okay? And through his business, he had a lot of rough times. He taught me the fortitude to stay in business. And then when I came to Seton Hall, besides all the courses that I took here, which helped me develop skills and things that I needed to do to help grow the business, I learned so much from so many people that I met at Seton Hall University, many of whom are here tonight. And on top of the generosity and courage of Neil Michelli for lending us that money, and tied together with the intelligence and drive of my partner, Vito, I realized that when all is said and done, Seton Hall University is what has made this story possible. And so I owe my success today to Seton Hall University. I'm certainly proud to be here tonight and humbled to be among the other Stillman School of Business Hall of Famers. Thank you, Seton Hall, and thank you all for coming.
Our second honoree this evening is Shannon Morris. I ask that you direct your attention to the video screen to take a brief look at Shannon's path to success.
Schools in the Midwest and on the West Coast, and I'd have to say that instantly I felt at home. I felt a very strong sense of community, that I'd be safe and part of something very special, and I really had that instant chemistry with Seton Hall. I do think it's easy to get caught up in academic ratings, but there's this very intangible value that I placed on culture and community that Seton Hall offered that I just didn't find anywhere else. I was at Seton Hall and part of the athletics program there during some very exciting times, from our run at the Final Four to a new swim coach, a new swim team, this very exciting Big East Conference. It was really one of the most amazing times to be there, and I really wouldn't change those experiences for anything. They really were some of my best memories. It was then that I made some of my best friends, and the community that was our athletic program is something I will forever treasure. I remember vividly my first month at Seton Hall. Monsignor Sharon invited the international students and some of the out-of-state students on a trip to New York City to visit the South Street Seaport and then down to Chinatown. It was really one of my first ventures into New York. I really thought about that trip for a very long time and thought about the time he took from his busy life to make sure that we all felt at home, and it really stuck with me. To me, that's really what Seton Hall is about, and that day and how he made me feel part of the community, something I always remember.
So strategically, which direction are we recommending for them?
Well, what we're trying to do is send them down a road to good creative that's going to work.
Right, aspirational.
I came to Sigma after a successful career in corporate marketing, and I had ventured out on my own as a consultant. And I think instantly my entrepreneurial spirit gelled with the culture and pace at which Sigma was evolving at that time. Over the years, we've had a really great run. We've grown at record pace, we've won lots of awards, won all kinds of new business, and we've brought in lots of new clients across a number of categories and businesses. But I think that through the years, one thing that's really never wavered is our sense of community and our commitment to doing good work, but also having fun on the job. We are all very grateful to have found a place where our careers are fun and that the work-life balance we have makes it all worthwhile. What we've come to realize is that ideas, which really are the only thing that we sell, they really can be very important not only to companies, but also to nonprofit organizations and different community organizations, whether it's a food program for an underprivileged family or a creative way for Girl Scouts to learn. Putting a little creativity behind nonprofit work is something that I'm very, very proud of at Sigma. I'm very grateful to have found a place where every day is different and the mix of people I work with is so diverse and the companies I get to visit every day are so different. It's exciting, it's fast-paced. I feel it's really a perfect blend for my energy level, my passion, the pace I love to work at, obviously my competitive drive. As a mom to four in a very, very busy household and then overseeing a growing company, it can definitely be a lot, but I think I've been successful at prioritizing my life. Obviously, family comes first, but I'm very driven towards success and towards success of Sigma, but I also know that I have 4 important lives to shape, which is really a key focus of mine, obviously.
Fall down, Julia. He's just trying to be very impressive. That's all. All right?
One of the things that I have to work very hard on is capitalizing on those big moments. I think that great moments come from taking advantage of great opportunities, and it's an important lesson in business and in life, and I try to set that example for my children at home. I've always been a goal setter, and I've always loved the pursuit of big challenges and obviously the reward of seeing my efforts pay off. That was innately part of my career as an athlete, and setting goals in the pool for myself personally and meeting and exceeding my coach's expectations, setting a good example for my teammates. The idea that my experience as an athlete and my personal work ethic have combined to bring me where I am today is something I fully subscribe to. I feel that my experience at Seton Hall taught me a lot about myself. It certainly shaped my independence. It provided for great exposure to many wonderful people and places. But it also taught me that life is about moments. So I spend my time seeing opportunities where others may see doubt, and I spend time finding ways to get things done instead of making excuses as to why they can't get done. I always do my best to offer steadfast leadership during moments of winning and losing. And to me, this is what the best leaders do and what entrepreneurs do very well.
Having it all is everyone's great dream of a great life. To achieve even a little of the dream requires sacrifice and planning, and that is what Shannon has been all about. She came to the university from Oregon as a fresh-faced 18-year-old on a scholarship, not knowing anyone, but excited about her new adventure. She was determined to do well because she was so grateful for the opportunity provided to her by her parents. She was focused and knew she wanted to be in advertising very early. She loved the creativity and diversity that advertising provided. She was an active member of the Seton Hall University community and was captain of the swim team and a two-time Big East academic All-American. Upon graduation, she entered the corporate world, but that did not mess with her plan to have it all. So in 1998, she left the corporate world and ventured on her own to become an advertising and marketing consultant. She was a born network and became very well known in the industry. One of her clients, the Sigma Group, liked what she had to say so much that they made her a partner in 2003. 9 years later, she owned the place, and the rest is history. Her decision to leave corporate was based on her desire to achieve balance. During her years as a consultant, she had 4 children and was a leader in creating work-life balance for female employees. She proved you could do it all and still be successful. She's a no-nonsense professional with tremendous drive, vision, and character. She will tell you immediately that no one achieves success without sacrifice and support, and points to her husband, Jeff, who gave up his career to provide the parental support all children need, as a big reason for why she's so successful. She also uses a phrase like, don't overthink a problem, just do it. And life is about moments. Her success has been validated by the number of awards she and her company have received, including the #1 ranking for top agencies by NJ Biz and earning a Stevie Award as the best female executive. She has also been a leader in the volunteer community with the development of Sigma's Team Hercules and Team Gaby, as well as her work with cancer. Shannon, we cannot be prouder of anyone here than we are of you. Your leadership and example make it clear as to why we selected you for this honor. It is my pleasure to present the 2013 Entrepreneur Hall of Fame Award to Shannon Morris. Please come up and accept your award.
Okay. It is very overwhelming and a little surreal, to be honest with you, thinking about what actually went on here 20 years ago at Seton Hall. But I'm very honored, and usually I'm trying to sell somebody something or tell them to work harder or work smarter, so talking about myself is not exactly easy. But I do have some notes, and I'll try my best to work from those. I want to kind of start with my gratitude for the selection committee for giving me this great honor. To Tom, thank you for the great job tonight as MC. To Susan, who's been such a great advisor and a partner during this process. To Joyce for entrusting me with this great honor. And Lee for all your great coordination. I'd also love to congratulate Jim on this outstanding honor, your life's work and your impressive achievements. Certainly a well-deserved honor. You know, I'm the first woman inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I have to say it's about time. And, you know, with that, there could come some tears, a little more drama. You see my video's a little different, and I did have a singer that was a gift from one of my creative directors that couldn't be here tonight, so you got a little mix of everything here tonight. But I do feel very privileged to be the first woman inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I take a great pride in this accomplishment, and I will really do my best to live up to these great expectations and uphold the reputation that you've talked about tonight for years to come. It's a little unbelievable to be a Hall of Famer. In a lot of ways, I still feel like I'm 22, and I feel there is so much more to do, and on many levels, I feel like the best is yet to come, so it's quite an honor. I wanted to talk mostly about the people here tonight. I want to start with my parents, who have surprised me, my sister, my brother, who flew 3,000 miles to join me here tonight. They've always been there for me, even over the phone or over internet or over text, cheering me on, so I wanted to say thank you. It means so much for me to have you here tonight. And my team back at Sigma, Sky, who's here, and Jose, who's off in LA shooting a commercial, did such a great job on that video. I think it really sums it up. You know, so many people say to me, my God, you have 4 kids and you're working, and how do you do it? I say all the time, I do my best. I don't do it perfectly, but I do my best, and I think that video summed it up, so thank you very much for the video, guys. I thought a lot about what I was going to talk about tonight, and I think the best way to say it is I really owe my life to Seton Hall. And in all honesty, I think every single person here is connected to me through my life experiences here at Seton Hall, and it's pretty unreal. It's here that I married and met my husband. We got married in the chapel here at Seton Hall. He is a trusted friend and an advisor, my motivator and my counselor. And without him and his commitment to Sigma and our life together as professionals, I wouldn't be here. He gave up his career to support mine, and together we've raised this wonderful family and created a very wonderful company. And I owe a great amount of gratitude to him, so thank you, my husband. And my cheering section is filled with my best friends, many of whom I met as a swimmer, my teammates here at Seton Hall, my girls. We've spent countless hours in the pool, half naked, talking, cheering, laughing, crying. We've raised our children together, some of the greatest athletes and people that I know. I have my coworkers from Sigma, obviously, these business associates who have done so much for me at Sigma, sharing this night with me. Friends who have children going to Seton Hall now, friends who have sent their kids off to swim in the pool here at Seton Hall. And even my nomination to this Hall of Fame is a small world coincidence. I think Tom mentioned that I acquired the company last year after a long time with Sigma, and in doing so, you know, you meet so many people, it's such a learning process, and I was referred to a mergers and acquisitions kind of consultant accountant, Phil Murphy, who said to me, oh my gosh, you would be a great candidate for this Hall of Fame thing I do. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, it's for Seton Hall. I said, I went to Seton Hall, this is great. So it's, you know, it's wonderful to be back, and in so many ways I feel like I never left. Obviously, I have my children here tonight, Julia, Anna, AJ, I see you, and I'm sorry there's no dancing tonight, AJ. John, handsome, very handsome. They are amazing. I talk about them every day. I'm constantly amazed the way they think, the way they challenge me, and I get so excited just thinking about who they're going to become one day. And I want to say I'm especially happy to have Julia and Anna here. These girls are teenagers, and I think the majority of their lives are filled with moments of mom and dad giving them very confusing lessons on doing your best and trying your hardest and bringing your best attitude and highest level of effort to every single thing you do. They get these weird analogies from me on the way to school. I'm here to tell you, Julia and Anna, that it will make sense someday. And your hard work does pay off. And going the extra mile to set and reach your goals is definitely worth it. That caring about doing the right thing well will give you big advantages in life. It's fulfilling, it's rewarding, and being grateful for the opportunities you are giving and turning those opportunities into moments that matter are what it's about. I want everybody to take a moment to tell them that when you see them in the hallway. And I mentioned my parents without even knowing they were going to be here. I would like to acknowledge them. They showed me through their example the value of a strong moral compass, the importance of loyalty, and the role that a strong work ethic can play in both life and business. My rule, and what I always say to people, it's very simple. It's called hustle. And it's about working harder than every single person in the room and to do better than anybody expects you to do. Effort can take you very far. And we heard tonight, you don't know if you're born with it or it's taught to you. I don't know where it comes from, but it's just about hard work. It's for looking for opportunity instead of waiting for it to come to you. And once you figure that out, you can go very far in life. My night would not be complete without acknowledging this amazing foundation of friends and family that I am very blessed with. My friends here tonight have shared with me some of life's greatest moments from our time at Seton Hall. So many friends who are by my side every day as we raise our children together, my partners at Sigma, with whom we work every day to create something amazing. And I have to say, it's been a phenomenal week. I'm a Hall of Fame inductee, and yesterday Sigma was named the top agency in New Jersey by Adweek magazine. So it's a big win. I want to acknowledge my family, Jeff's parents, Don and Chris Morris, who have been amazing cheerleaders to me since the day I met them, sitting in their living room in my Seton Hall sweats, taking laundry home. I just have such gratitude for this opportunity, and I really owe so much to Seton Hall, to this wonderful community that was a home to me in spite of the 3,000-mile journey I took from Oregon, and to the wonderful people tonight who have so graciously welcomed me back to this community. Thank you. I really am very honored and truly appreciate this recognition, and just express my deepest gratitude and want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
When we established the Hall of Fame in 2006, we wanted to show our Seton Hall students that this was an entrepreneurial school. But it's not just an entrepreneurial school, it's made up of all these wonderful people with tremendous character and the great Seton Hall spirit that we all share. And for the past 8 years, we've honored some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. Tonight, too, was just wonderful with Shannon and Jimmy, and you two are very, very well deserving of this wonderful honor. We're running out of space in the wall, by the way, so we're going to have to make it bigger and move it, and that's going to be Dean Strausser's job to make sure we have enough space for the next 20 years, okay? Well, we actually have more surprises for our honorees. So, Joyce, would you come up and help us with that? Jimmy's is first, and then hers.
Recognition of our honorees is not limited to the confines of the Seton Hall campus. So, it gives me great pleasure to present this joint resolution of the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey to Jim DiCarlo. This resolution, which was sponsored by Senator Cody, Assemblywoman Jassy, and Assemblyman McKeon, formally congratulates Jim on his induction into the Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame and commends him on his record of accomplishments that has earned him this accolade. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you again. And I forgot to make one point when I was doing my speech before, but I was looking at the list of guests that are here for me tonight. There's 60 guests, and out of the 60 guests, 25 are entrepreneurs. And I thought that was phenomenal, so I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
And Shannon, I think you probably know what's coming. It gives me great pleasure to present to you this joint resolution of the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey to you, Shannon Morris. This resolution was sponsored by Senator Cody, Assemblywoman Jassy, and Assemblyman McKeon. It formally congratulates you on your induction into the Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame, and likewise commends you on your record of accomplishments that's earned you this honor. Congratulations, Shannon.
Thank you so much. It's very special. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And while I have the mic, I have just a short message to Julia and Anna. So Julia and Anna, as you're considering colleges, the Stillman School has an excellent business program and a leadership program ranked number 24 in the nation. So we'd be delighted to have you.
Well, we're coming to the end of the evening, but before we do, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the individuals on the dinner committee who worked so hard to make this event happen. Thank you to Pamela Dungy and Lee Eonimus, Melody Paludi, Janet Fenton, Jen O'Shield. Thank you so much. This was a wonderful, wonderful event. I would now like to invite our honorees, Jim and Shannon, and their families to come to the front of the room for commemorative pictures. Thank you all. Good night.